Hello, my name is Michelle and I am half of the team here at Aspen Grove Adventures. My other half is Matt and he is not with us today. Today we are going to do another RV park review. It has been a very long time since I have reviewed an RV park. It might have been 3 years and it might be the last time that we reviewed an RV park in the Disneyland area. A lot of people have seen that video. If you have seen that video, you might also be interested in this one because that RV park unfortunately did not make it through COVID, which is pretty sad because it was a great RV park. But we had to stay at a different RV park, and that's the RV park that I wanted to review for you guys today. It is the Orangeland RV Park, and it is actually not in Anaheim proper. It is in the adjacent town, Orange. And it's not that far. It's 3 to 4 miles depending on the route that you take in between the Disneyland parks and Orangeland RV Park. So, as I have said with the handful of RV reviews I have done in the past, I really think that before you can sit down and review an RV park, you really need to look at what is this RV park supposed to be achieving. Different RV parks, different campgrounds have different purposes, and an RV park in Glacier National Park or on the rim of the Grand Canyon is going to serve a very different purpose than the RV park that is less than 5 miles from Disneyland in California. So it's important to see what your goal is before you review, I think. So this RV park does not only just serve people who are going to Disneyland, it serves a lot of people who are either on vacation in the area or there are some long-term stays. About, I'd say 30% of the park is long-term residents. So it is serving a different goal than Yosemite's campground. This is essentially one of those campgrounds where they offer you a place to park your hotel room on wheels. So rather than getting a hotel room in the area, you can bring your RV or an RV that you have rented. So with that in mind, let's jump into the review.
Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today is a good day to live.
So I have a handful of different categories that I have taken note of, and I thought we would just go right down it and I would kind of tell you how many stars out of 5 I would give you or would give them for each of these categories. So the first category is, I called it accessibility, and then I realized later that kind of sounds how handicap friendly it is. But what I really mean is how easy is it to get in? There were 3 RV parks within 5 miles of Disneyland, and one of them did not make it through COVID, which is really sad. But also you have to keep in mind that there is now a huge loss in the amount of space for people who want to RV to Disneyland. And so the other 2 parks in the area are going to get impacted. So for us, we were there in October, and then we were there again in November of 2021. And when we were there in October, we decided we wanted to come back 2 weeks later. When we asked them, they weren't quite sure, but then they had a cancellation, and we were able to get an RV park or an RV spot for a week 2 weeks ahead of time. It was maybe 2.5 weeks before we were going to be back that they were able to find us a 7-night spot that fit our RV. But again, it was in November. So because of our experience, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 stars, but it's important for you to remember that if you have a bigger RV or if you're trying to go in July, you're probably going to need to book this further out if it's going to be a peak time, because it was kind of difficult for them to get us in, but they were able to with only 2 weeks of notice. But I think planning ahead would definitely be a benefit for you in this with this RV park. It's not like they had empty spaces. They were pretty full the entire time that we were there. And so the next category is cleanliness. Cleanliness is a big one for me when it comes to RV parks, especially ones in urban environments. I think that when you're out in nature, it's a little bit easier to get away with a little bit less tidiness, but in an urban environment, things can go south very quickly when it comes to cleanliness. And this place was not like that at all. I'm going to give them 4.5 stars. I'm knocking off half a star because they do have, like I said, about 30% of their residents are full-time residents, and you can tell. So things are looking a little shabby and it's just not pristine, but I wouldn't call it disgusting or dirty or anything like that. Otherwise, it is very clean. It is very manicured. The laundry rooms that they have was very nice. The pool was swept and clean. They have a decent sized staff, and the staff clearly work very hard. They do have a weird system where they don't just tell you where the dumpster is and tell you to take your trash. They want you to bag your trash and put it on the edge of your site, and then they come out periodically throughout the day and gather up all the trash. So there was people constantly doing that. I did not see unattended trash just left on the street. So the next is the amenities, and I was going to give them a 5 out of 5, but I failed. I completely forgot about campground bathrooms. I'm sure this campground has bathrooms, and I would be shocked if they are not well kept, but I don't know that for a fact. But I'm assuming that a bathroom with showers and toilet and everything is one of the amenities. But I just made a huge, giant mistake in my planning for this video and did not look in the bathrooms because I forgot they were a thing. That's my bad. I'm sorry. But based off of the amenities that I was paying attention to, I would give them a 5 out of 5. This was a pretty impressive campground as far as amenities go. They had a pool and a spa that were very well kept and clean and nice. And for the age of the campground, the pool and the spa did not show it. I don't know how those amenities are in particular, but they seemed, while not like cutting edge or fancy, they were very nice and well kept. There's also a game room with a pool table. They had a nice little outdoor seating area with a fire pit and a little fountain. There was a barbecue area where you could eat and barbecue your food. They had a small little gym space, kind of, if you needed to have some exercise equipment. There was a covered play area for the children, which was kind of hilarious looking, and it looked kind of dated and faded. The thing is they are down in Southern California. The sun beats hard, so things take a beating, things get faded out pretty darn quickly, and this playground looked like that. But it had a fence all around it, which is cool because now you know that your kid's not going to be able to get off and run out into the street. It was just kind of funny because it's covered and then gated, and it looked like a little prison playground for small children. But it's there, and I'm sure kids enjoy it, and the cover, while making it look very strange, is probably very nice in the summer because, like I said, the sun beats down and it can get hot down there. Right next to the children's playground area was like a little, I think it was like a pinball game or something. And then there were the laundry rooms, or the laundry room, and it was very nice. It was laundromat status. It wasn't 1 or 2 washers and dryers. It was a full laundromat, and it was very well taken care of and nice, like everything else in the RV park. So one of the amenities that I kind of forgot about was the office. Like the main office where you go in and check in is also a gift shop, and it is like a whole gift shop camp store situation, and it is really cool. Like, do you need a Disney lanyard? Do you need a Disney towel? Do you need a Disney t-shirt? They will give them, or they will sell them to you. Do you need a new sewer hose? They will also sell that to you. It was a really good camp store. It wasn't large, but they had a lot of stuff. They had RV stuff and Disney stuff and snacks and other foods you might need, and the staff in there was very helpful and great. And then one of the major amenities that Matt in particular was really interested in and that we found really cool was this Orangeland RV Park back 60, 70 years ago was a part of an orange grove, as most of the town of Orange was. And there are still a ton of citrus trees that they have planted in this RV park. And depending on when you're there and depending on what's in season, you are welcome to pick at the office. They can give you like those little fruit pickers on sticks so you can get the stuff from high up. And they have oranges and lemons and limes and grapefruit and maybe persimmons. I'm not sure. They have a lot of citrus trees, and they have a map that will show you what trees are where, so you can go around and pick your fruit, which is pretty cool. So the next category might not be something that everyone is really affected by or interested in, but it is important to our family, so I'm going to include it here, and that is how dog friendly this campground is. So this is where they get the least amount of stars from me. This campground is going to get 3.5 stars on the dog friendly chart from me. So I took off a star automatically because they have breed restrictions. This is not the place to really get into breed restrictions, but overall I think that things are more about each individual dog than breeds as a whole. And so any campground that has breed restrictions, just for my own scoring, is going to get a star taken off there. And then there's a lot of rules at this campground surrounding your dog. The dogs are not allowed to go to the bathroom anywhere but in the 2 designated pet relief areas. And I would be okay with this rule except for the 2 pet relief areas. These 2 pet relief areas are both the size of sites. Clearly, at some point in time, they stopped being RV sites. The power pedestal is still there. And there's water, like spigots, which is good because you can hose down the area when need be. And these areas are now fenced in with a waist height fence, which was fine for our dogs. But if you have a jumper, like, you're not going to want to take them off of the leash because they will jump out. And it's just pavement with gravel on top. And every single dog in this RV park is meant to come and pee over here. So there's nothing, like, the pee can't soak into anything because it's just pavement with gravel on top. And so they stink. They stink so badly. Like, they're gross. They're disgusting. So I understand why they have these rules and why they have the pet relief areas. But if they could please just take a jackhammer and jackhammer up the concrete and get down to dirt, and then like just have the dirt and then maybe some sand and then maybe some gravel on top of that, just so that the pee has somewhere to go, because right now it is gross. It's just disgusting. And then, so, like, because of that, it would knock off a few stars for me, but I'm going to give them back a star because they do have something I've never seen in any RV park before, and that is a pet bathing area with warm water. So in one of the pet relief areas, there's a section at the back that's also fenced off, and there's like a little ramp up to basically a shower pan up at waist height with a shower head and a spigot, and you can just turn it on, and then it's one of the ones you can hold in your hand, and you can give your dog a whole bath. Teddy at one point stepped in dog poop and was pretty gross, and so I had to get him up there and just kind of wash off his feet. And it was nice warm water, which was amazing. So that definitely bumps him back up on the list of whether or not they're good for dogs. That gives them a little boost. But overall, it's okay for dogs, but it definitely is not a dog paradise. That's for sure. So the next category is the staff. And the staff definitely gets a 5 out of 5 stars. I did not have a bad experience with anyone. I didn't even have a mediocre experience with anyone. Everyone I spoke to was friendly and happy and cheerful and helpful. At one point, I was putting out my trash onto the curb, because, like they want you to do, and I saw one of the men who was picking up the trash, and I had a bag of recycles. And so I asked him, I was like, I have this bag of recycles. Is like, where's your is there a place to take the recycling? Do I put it out here? And he's like, oh, the recycling's over behind the laundry room or wherever. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks. And I was about to go take it. And he's like, oh, no, just give it to me. Just put it in the front seat of my golf cart and I'll take it over. Which was very nice because he was in the middle of doing something else. Like he was pruning trees or mowing the lawn or something. And he was like, oh, no, I'll just add that to what I'm doing. So that was very nice of him and very helpful. And that's just one example of how nice and helpful that all of these people were. So my last category are the RV sites, and I am giving that 4 out of 5 stars. They are tight. They are not large sites, because like I said at the beginning, you have to judge this on what it is. And this is a urban location. They need to fit in as many people as they can. It's not about enjoying the sights necessarily. It's all about location. So I'm not necessarily judging them too much. I just wish that the sites were maybe a little bit longer, because it is difficult to fit your vehicle onto your site with your trailer if your trailer is any longer than maybe 25 feet. But the sites, like everything else at this RV park, were very clean. We appreciated that they were very level, like we didn't have to worry about leveling much at all. It was very easy. And they're pretty darn affordable for what you are getting. Like I've said many times, this in many ways is an alternative to a hotel room at Disneyland. And it's the nicest sites as of 2021 were less than $100. It's affordable comparatively. It's not cheap when you look at, state RV park or state campgrounds, but it definitely is, compared to other lodging options at Disney, a very affordable choice, which is pretty great. Okay, so if I kind of do the math with my stars to figure out what the overall star rating is, I am not going to judge them on what I called accessibility, and what I mean is how easy it is to find a site. I'm not going to judge them on that, because if someone calls and asks for a site, they're going to sell it, and then it's not going to be available to the next person. And that's just kind of the way business goes. They have no room to get any bigger. They can't fit any more sites. So that's just supply and demand, and they have no control over that, really. So we're not going to judge them. I had given them 4 stars for that, and we're not going to worry about it when we do the math. But with 4.5 for cleanliness, 5 stars for amenities, 3.5 for how dog friendly they are, another 5 out of 5 for their staff, and 4 out of 5 for their sites. That gives them 22 total stars, and out of 5 categories, I did my math here, that gives them a grand total of 4.4 stars, which I think is pretty darn accurate if you are calculating in the dogs, which I definitely did. And if you take the dogs out of that equation, it is definitely going to raise their star points by my rating. And I would definitely recommend them. I am sad that the Anaheim RV Park is gone. It was a little bit closer. What I actually didn't talk about in this review, which I should have, is accessibility to Disneyland. So they are about 3 or 4 miles away, depending on the route that you take. They are walking distance to the what is called Arctic. It's the main transportation hub for the Anaheim Regional Transit. So you can walk over there. Right now, Arctic is not doing great. They have a really bad system because of COVID, but hopefully it gets better in the future. That's not something I'm necessarily going to talk about here, but definitely do your research for that. It is driving distance. If you want to park at Disney, it's a very short drive. You can Uber or Lyft if you want to. I'm not sure if Ubering is cheaper than parking over there. It's one of those things you're really just going to have to figure out in the moment, because prices with Uber and Lyft fluctuate so much. The way that we do it, which is a benefit for bringing your own RV, is when we bring our RV, we bring our bikes. And so it is a very easy, flat bike ride. I think it's about 3.5 miles by bike. So less than 20 minutes, we can just zip on over to Disneyland on our bikes. So yeah, that's it for this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. It helps this channel grow and for this video to be shown to other people who might be interested in it. And if you are interested in other RVing to Disney, because we have a couple other RVing at Disney or to Disney videos coming out. So if you're interested in that or just RVing in general, please be sure to subscribe. We post every Friday, and we will see you guys later. Bye.
Today